Welcome back. You're tuned in Chartbusters here on CNBC TV 18. Now, IndiGrid, that's the stock on our radar on the back of the company's fundraising plan via preference allotment. To discuss this and more, we're joined by Harsha, the CEO of the company, who joins us on the show. Hi, Mr. Shah. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, you've raised roughly around 2,000 crores odd. I was looking at the outlook. You're looking to buy transmission assets of more than 11,000 crores odd. So you require some more funding, right? How do you bridge this gap?
Hi. So I think just the first point, we raised 2,500 crores of equity via preference issue. Out of that, 2,000 crores is subscribed by KKR and GIC in total, about 1,080 by KKR and the 980 by GIC, and the rest by the other capital market investors. We use equity as well as debt to acquire assets. So we plan to acquire in all 11,500 crores of assets over the next 2 years. If we start with the debt equity, would be hardly 49% because we'll acquire 5,000 crores of assets now. And subsequently, we will increase the leverage on our platform to go up to about 67-68%. This is while maintaining our rating at AAA.
And the assets that you're acquiring, what is the IRR on these assets? Your IRR is just shy of 10%. You had a target of taking it to about 12%. So what is the internal rate of return on these assets that you're acquiring?
That's right. So when we came with IPO and subsequent investor presentation also, we maintained that we want to achieve a 12% IRR at 100 rupees of unit price. As we speak today, after the immediate two acquisitions which we will do, 5,000 crores, we will reach an IRR of 10.7% at 100 rupees. At the current market price, it would be substantially higher than that. And as we go acquiring the entire 11,500 crores of assets over the next 2 years, we would reach a 12% IRR at 100 rupees. And that would mean at the current market price, which is around 85, the IRR would be substantially higher.
So then, Mr. Shah, of course, the listing happened 2 years back, and the price at which your units are trading at the moment, and also this particular trade has been done with GIC, KKR and other investors, is sub 84 rupees per share versus 100 rupees of listing. Now, what do you have to say about the investors who had put in money 2 years back in your InvIT listing, and what is the outlook that you're giving for those unit holders? While we do understand that yield is another way of gaining, and we'll come to that next.
Sure. So I think, see, when we came with the IPO, we promised investors 11 rupees distribution per unit, and subsequently we increased it by acquisitions to 12 rupees a unit. And this acquisition will allow us to make it far more sustainable. We can provide at least 10 years of 12 rupees a unit over next years with these acquisitions. Now, coming to the price, price is subject to a lot of factors in the market. For example, when we came for IPO, the GSEC was 6.4%, whereas GSEC today, as we all know, is 7.4%. It's at least a 10 to 15% increase in the price of GSEC itself, or a reduction in price of GSEC. So that does impact us. At the end of the day, we are a yield platform. We provide a yield and a cash flow to investors. On a relative basis, GSEC and the interest rate going up will impact our relative value, and that has also reduced our NAV.
Right.
Second point is, even if you look at it over last couple of quarters or 3 quarters, spreads over GSEC for normal corporate has also gone up because of the liquidity in NBFC and far more other prices, which also impacts us in terms of price. Having said so, price is not something which we control, and that is subject to market phenomena. What we are focused on is distribution, stable distribution to unit holders, which we have promised at 12 rupees and which will continue to deliver as well as grow.
Right. So distribution yield is one of the important aspects of an InvIT listing besides the unit share price. Now, when we talk about the distribution yield, it has substantially increased, and the portfolio and the model is such that as you acquire more assets, it will rise. So from 11% earlier, now it is at 14%. And you have said that with this fundraise, you're going to acquire 6 more assets over the next 2 years. Can you give us more outlook on your distribution yield on account of these new acquisitions?
Sure. So Nisha, I'll tell you, a percentage yield should rather come down, not go up. But what I said, distribution going up is important because the yield percentage is function of price of the unit, which we really can't control. What this acquisition does for us is It allows us to distribute 12 rupees for at least next 10 years and even beyond, and allows us to increase if required from 12 rupees to a higher number. That decision will be taken by the board as we continue to evaluate and we consummate the acquisitions. At this point in time, we have just signed the agreements and will be consummating 2 large acquisitions in Q1 and subsequently the other 3 acquisitions over next 7 or 8 quarters. So as and when we consummate the acquisition, we would give more guidance on the 12 rupees itself, of how long will it last or can it go up. But what we have given guidance is that with these all acquisitions, for next 10 years, we'll be able to maintain minimum 12 rupees and even subsequently, there will be a healthy yield available to investors.
Right, and KKR has also not just put in money through the preferential issue of shares of more than 1,000 odd crore rupees, but also has come in as a co-sponsor with Sterlite Power and is also going to have a controlling stake in your investment manager. What does it mean for IndiGrid?
Yeah, that's right. I think Nisha rightly described. So KKR is becoming a co-sponsor, and as a sponsor, one really what can give is that you can have a longer outlook to the platform. You're committing yourself to the platform, and therefore you can have larger stakes also in the platform. That's being a co-sponsor along with Sterlite Power. At the investment manager, a majority interest is very helpful for IndiGrid investors. If you look at it for IndiGrid, we are getting benefit of one of the 2 internationally acclaimed investors and operator of transmission assets. So KKR brings a global investment management expertise to IndiGrid via this majority interest, and Sterlite Power brings a global technical and operating expertise as a project manager to run these assets for us. So IndiGrid investors gets the best of both worlds via this partnership.
So, Mr. Shah, why is KKR going to buy out the additional 14% of the last tranche to reach 74% in investment manager after 2 years? Are there any deliverables or any milestones that you need to reach for KKR to reach that? And second point, Sterlite Power, is it in a way exiting the company by and by with this transaction and later on as well?
Okay, so to answer your first question, I think on 14% there are no deliverable. It is an agreement between Sterlite Power and KKR to acquire a particular percentage of shareholding over a period of time. And there are no deliverables per se on either side on account of that. Coming to the second part about Sterlite Power, while I represent IndiGrid, I believe Sterlite Power has a very sound strategy of focusing their capital as well as bandwidth on development assets, which is high risk and high return business, whereas IndiGrid stands for a low risk and a low medium return to investors kind of a portfolio. Now, Sterlite Power's commitment to IndiGrid remains not only by ownership of just 10 or 15% of stake, it remains by providing us longer pipeline of assets to acquire to grow IndiGrid and grow its returns. When we did the IPO, we came with 2 assets and subsequently we had a right of first offer, which is not a right of first offer or binding commitment, which we could execute in a joint way and acquired 3 projects from Sterlite Power last year, and we are acquiring 2 projects now. And we are getting to have commitment on the other 3 projects from Sterlite Power as sole exclusive buyer, which is a far bigger commitment from Sterlite Power to IndiGrid. Sterlite Power, on the other hand, is envisaging phenomenal growth in the transmission sector, not only in India but internationally, and which would allow them to focus and grow a larger portfolio of assets for IndiGrid.
All right.
And that's why it's a coexistence and a mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thanks so much, Mr. Shah, for joining in and giving us all those details. We'll touch base with you, in the coming fiscal and get an update as to how the acquisition plans are moving ahead. Well, for the markets, we're down close to around 90 points approximately. The Bank Nifty, that's down 230 points. But remember, this morning it was down more than 350 points. We'll wrap up on this show. You stay with us. Trading Hour comes up next.